Hello all, and welcome to another Caffeinated Entertainment video. It's Art here with the book review for The Wind Weaver by Julie Johnson. I received this via, I believe, Viking Press, I want to say. I'll put the name of the publisher down below, but I received this full review. The book is already out. How best can I put this? It is good fantasy. It is a good fantasy novel. However, it lacks greatness because it's paint by numbers fantasy. It's really slow in the beginning. Now, granted, I know it's the first book in the series. I know it's building into a series. I get all that. But you start it at a point where it's high intensity, high octane in the first few chapters. Then when that situation is resolved, the main character goes on a journey to find herself, but doesn't even know she's going on that journey. She doesn't even know that she is special in any kind of way. It's very paint by numbers, very filled with that fantasy trope. It reminds me a little bit of Harry Potter in that ask where Harry doesn't know. Harry's got a mark on him. The main character's got a mark on her. She has no idea what the mark means. He has no idea what the mark means. That Harry has no idea what the mark means. That Harry has either. And so in that esque, it was very paint by numbers fantasy. It was very slow because once the first situation got to its point, the narrative slowed to a very slow wounded crawl, let's say. It's not that it wasn't good. There were points in it that were good. There were points in it that had me turning pages and reading as fast as I possibly could. But it was very paint by numbers. Very, there wasn't anything special that made the book stand out. It didn't do anything. It did a lot of good things good that are in fantasy books, and it didn't do anything hardly bad. The problem is it didn't make itself stand out. If you had The Song of Ice and Fire, The Chronicles of Narnia, Lord of the Rings, The Inheritance series by Christopher Paolini, other epic, The Wheel of Time, epic fantasy that everybody knows, and sorry, something was in my eye, that everybody knows and everybody loves, and you put this book and this series beside it, you're not going to gravitate towards picking this book. You're eventually going to get to it because it's good fantasy, but nothing's going to make you pull it off the shelf because you're not going to hear. It's not that it's bad, but it's not going to have the same word of mouth that Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, The Chronicles of Narnia, and all the really epic fantasy have. This tries to be epic fantasy, but this seems like baby's first epic fantasy. Like, it's good. It's just very predictable. It's very slow moving. It moves at a snail's pace, to put it best. It's not that it's bad. It's just very formulaic, very. Once you understand the rules of the world, it's like, okay, this is what she is, this is what she does. And they spend many chapters And of course, the main character is the narrator too, so she gets lost in her own head, which those can either be good chapters or those can be bad chapters. In this book, they're mostly thumbs down chapters from me when that happens. When the action happens, or when they get into the lore of what makes the main character special or the main character important, it becomes a better book. Not better than average, but it becomes a better book. You can see that Julie Johnson knows how to write. You can see that Julie Johnson knows how to do fantasy. But I think what I would criticize her for is the Wind Weaver really doesn't take the training wheels off. It is training wheels fantasy. And this is not a knock on it because, like I said, she doesn't do very many things poorly. It's all done well, but it's all been done better somewhere else. That's my point. So that's why I find it like hard to, like, if you're reading it and enjoying it, I completely understand. If you want me to recommend it to you, I'm going to recommend The Wheel of Time, The Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, Brent Week's Night Angel trilogy, Brent Week's Black Prism series, James Islington, The Shadow of What Was Lost trilogy. Like, I could name so many other fantasy series to go with before you get to this one. Not that this one is bad, it's just not... It's not going to be anybody's first choice once you're reading it, let's be honest. And that's its only problem. And I will get to who... I think it was Viking, but I'm going to tell you right now who sent it to me. Which I appreciate the publisher sending it to me for review. I really do. But you guys know I have to be honest with my reviews. That's my thing. I have to be honest. I have to be real. And it's not that they're not terrible. It's just very rhythmic in its nature. It's very paint by numbers in its nature. It's Ace Publishing. It's Ace Publishing. Publishing house I've actually never heard of before this book. To be quite honest, I appreciate them sending it to me. And will I read any more books in the series? Yeah, but they're not going to be my first go. They're not going to be my go-to reads, because there's just so many other good books to read out there that I would say use this series as a palate cleansing series because it's very formulaic. It's a lot like Brian Jake's Redwall series. It's very formulaic. It's very nonplussed. Not bad, just not spectacular either. So, with that said, it's a read it, borrow it from your library recommendation on my personal scale, or borrow it from somebody or your local library on my personal scale. It's a 3 out of 5 on the GoodReads scale. And that's not a bad score. That is not a bad score. That is an average score. Because the book is average. And sometimes average is okay. And where it excels, I could see where she could grow the series, and maybe book 2 is even better than that. I'm not going to argue with that. I'm not going to say anything bad about that, but the 3 out of 5 is very justly earned with this book. This book, at times, was fun, and was a page-turner, and at times it was a slog to get through. That's the only real thing I can say about it. Like I said, nothing too terribly bad. Thanks to Ace Publishing for sending me a proof copy of it. And I wish I could sing its praises, but I owe the publisher my honest opinion. I owe you my honest opinion, and I just owe it to myself my honest opinion. So there you go. With that said, leave in the comments down below if you guys have read The Wind Weaver by Julie Johnson, or if you're planning on reading The Wind Weaver by Julie Johnson. No harm, no foul in that. Maybe you'll like it better than I did. But like I said, there are points at it where it's like, wow, she knows how to handle this, and then it just goes to a crawl. But until next time, you know, normally I make videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday at 12:30 p.m. Central, 10:30 a.m. Pacific, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Please like, comment, subscribe. To see my next video, please ding the notification bell to be notified when I upload a video. And without further ado, happy reading! I'll see you again soon. And peace.